Well, hey guys, we had an incredible day 4 again, and it was jam-packed. We started at 6:30 in the morning with breakfast. We got back for dinner at 6:40, and we were going nonstop all day long. So I want to show you a few of the things. The first thing we did was we went to another first century tomb. So let me show you this. This was a very common type of tomb structure. This right here is where they prepared the bodies. And then they would put the bodies in here. And so here's me posing on the prep table. What I learned today that I didn't know was that they were in process of preparing Jesus and they ran out of time because of the Sabbath. And so they had to leave Jesus here and didn't finish putting him in one of these tunnels here. And we know that because this is where Jesus was when he was resurrected. The grave cloths were still on the preparation table. So I found that interesting. So we were up on the Mount of Olives. And so looking out from the Temple Mount, we were out in this area out here. And so this first picture is kind of neat. I took this picture. This is where they approximate Jesus looked on the city of Jerusalem and cried, "O Jerusalem, how often I've wanted to gather you in my arms." They believe that happened roughly in this spot. And then looking out over the city, here's the Temple Mount, and then going back behind to the crest of the Mount of Olives, this spot right here is where they think the Ascension took place. This was kind of the natural path to Bethany, which was just about a 20-minute walk. That's where Mary and Martha and Lazarus lived. So that is where they think that the Ascension took place. And so after this, we went to another area on the Mount of Olives and had a little fun. Of course, there's people all along the path. This was a really friendly guy. He wanted me to take his picture, and then he wanted to take a picture with me. And so here is us together, and here's him trying to give me a kiss. But the whole thing here is that as soon as we were done, he wanted money, which is kind of what they do. They get you to do something, then they say, "That'll be 10 shekels, 10 shekels." And so fortunately, somebody loaned me the money because I didn't have any shekels on me, but it was still kind of fun. And then I rode this camel. Here's a shot of me successfully having ridden the camel. And so after this, we walked down the Mount of Olives to the area of the Garden of Gethsemane, and this was really neat. This is the garden grove where they believe that Jesus prayed tears of blood and prayed, "Lord, if it's possible for this cup to be taken from me, please do so, but not my will, but thine be done." And as is the case with most of these sites, there's a big 5th century style church right beside it or on top of it, and this is that church here. Now, after we did this, we drove out about 12 miles to a place called Herodian. It was a place I was not familiar with, but King Herod the Great had built a magnificent structure up on this mountain. And not only did you can't really see it here, but he took a mountain beside of it and cut off the top of it and built this up by 1/3. And he did that because he wanted this place to be seen from Jerusalem, and he built an incredible structure on top of it. It's hard to do justice of just how ornate and magnificent this is. This is a mock-up of what it would have looked like at the time. And here is the archaeology. You can kind of get a feel for the scale of a person all the way up to these towers. And it would have all been made of marble and very ornate with columns and an overhead garden and just incredibly ornate. Here's another shot of that. So that was pretty interesting. And then we were off to Bethlehem. A couple of things that I had forgotten about Bethlehem that were really, really interesting. Of course, Bethlehem means house of bread. And this town had a lot of significance for the Jewish people. When they heard of Bethlehem, they immediately thought of a couple of events in Old Testament history. Bethlehem was where Naomi was from, Naomi went to Moab and met Ruth, and Ruth came back with Naomi, and the whole story with Boaz and Ruth happened in Bethlehem. Also, King David was from Bethlehem. That's where he was anointed king. And so when people heard Bethlehem, they heard hope and they heard solution. And of course, they were familiar with the Micah quote that Bethlehem would be the home that the Messiah was to come from. And so we had this incredible time of teaching and worship on a site overlooking a field, which is likely where the shepherds were grazing their sheep. And so right over the shoulder here, there was actually a shepherd out grazing his sheep here as we were doing the teaching and reflecting. And then we had a short time of worship. Let me show you this. And so we sang some Christmas songs, and it just was a really cool and worshipful time. And then, of course, as is the case with all of these, there's a huge kind of gaudy church associated with it. And so we went in there. It wasn't as neat as being out and seeing this. But I want to show you, they had a Greek Orthodox service going on while we were there. So I thought that was kind of fun. But the other thing about Bethlehem is you're walking to and from the church. It's in the West Bank area. It's very much tourists. So tourists or like tourist shops are everywhere. So everybody's trying to get you to buy something. I got a kick out of this one. This is Stars and Bucks Cafe in Palestine, where they serve Stars and Bucks coffee. So anyway, we had just another great day. So neat. Tomorrow we're at it again bright and early, and I hope to send you some information on what we're doing. Love you guys. Bye.